who forms part of our midfield, of course, is a player that we're not unfamiliar with. Played, of course, last time out in the Olympics for South Africa and was, really, really good. He's one of those that I feel like we're failing as a nation because he plays so well, and whenever we talk about succession and the players that we play in the youth teams but never really capitalize on, he's one of the perfect examples, and that is, of course, Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode of The Corner Flag. You are here with your favorite host, Deshane. And on today's episode, I'd like to thank everyone, just everybody who's watching this and everybody who's been a part of it. We have finally reached our goal of 500 subs. Thank you. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much. I really am thankful. It's been a long time coming. But yeah, we really are grateful to everybody who's been a part of the family. But the journey is not done. The journey is not done. We're still trying to go, and we're trying to go higher, guys. So yeah, please keep subscribing. Please keep sharing. Please keep liking. And let's keep that momentum going. Obviously. So, to commemorate this whole thing, of course, obviously, we talk a lot about Bafana Bafana and, just, African people in general and all of that good stuff, which is great, fantastic, all of that, right? But for today, as a special episode, right, I've been thinking, my mind has been thinking, right? During the AFCON and even now during the qualifiers, one thing that has been highlighted highly was the fact that South Africa was one of the only nations that went into these competitions with majority local players, right? Majority local players, which is astounding because this league there is very, very strong. The league in South Africa, obviously, the PSL, well-funded, well-run, and for the most part, there are scandals here and there, but for the most part, it is a very, very well-run league. And Sundowns in particular, they've been doing a fantastic job, active on the continent as well. And we can attribute a lot of the crop of these players to Sundowns and their mentality. So even the fact that, in Nigeria, they're going to delay them and make them wait 18 hours before they can get moving. These guys are already mentally strong. They've been to Africa. They know exactly what's going on, right? So it's a good thing. It's a good thing to see South Africa just doing the things. But it got me thinking, right? What if South Africa at this current moment, at this current time, had to go the other way and follow the model that is followed by a lot of African countries, which is they choose majority overseas players, right? So if South Africa had to choose their best 11, okay, I'm actually misleading a little bit. I'm just going to do it the way a coach does it. We're going to choose a full-on 23. There's too many talented players to choose from, right? But we're going to go full-on 23 and we're going to discuss which players, right, would be in the squad if South Africa had to go with the overseas route, right? Going the overseas route. So we're going to go ahead and get started. And with the first player we're going to be looking at, starting with the goalkeepers, right? We're going to go full 23 the way a coach does it. So starting with the goalkeepers, we're going to go 3. And the first keeper we're talking about, of course, is Jethrin Bar, right? Jethrin Bar is not a player that is unfamiliar to South Africa. He did get his call up some time ago, right? And he played well, but he didn't really get like a consistent run all throughout. So I think he's one person who could get a shot. Plays out in Drogheda, out in Ireland. So yeah, I think it's a really, really good one. So he's about 29-ish right now this year. So relatively experienced, right? Relatively experienced goalkeeper. Definitely one that we could call on in that situation, right? And then the next keeper we're going to be talking about is one who is making waves right now. Just got signed by Bournemouth, right? And if we're not careful, we might actually lose this one. So his name is Alex Paulson. As I said, just got bought by Bournemouth, and he's 21 years old. Really, really, really good shot stopper, great with penalties as well. And he's 21 years old, which is the most important thing. New Zealand currently is where he resides, and I think that's where like his nationality currently is. So he's one we would have to fight for. But even as a prospect right now, because we don't have too many prospects in the goalkeeping department, we have dwindled quite significantly, right? Especially now when you're thinking about like Williams, right? If we think about if Williams had to like step out, there's a giant question mark that we have right there. I mean, in the past, we used to have Ituku versus Monique Josephs at the same time, there was just always competition of at least 2 or 3 goalkeepers at a time. Senzo Mahio was in the picture, back then also. So I think we had around 2 to 3 goalkeepers at a time that were really, really high class that we could rely on. right now, Williams is good, right? And I think the fact that Williams is so good is kind of masking the fact that we have a giant goalkeeping problem in South Africa. I'm not saying Gas and Puma are not good players, they are. But if we're looking at the standard and the caliber from where we were, I don't think they compete. I'm sorry, I don't think they compete. So we're going to go over to the next player that we're going to be talking about in the goalkeeping department, of course, and that is, of course, Alex Paulson, we spoke about. So Rui Vieira, right? Rui Vieira is the player who plays out in Portugal, right? 19 years old also. So young prospect plays in a good league also in Portugal, as I said. Primeira Liga is the understudy to the current goalkeeper there. But if you're looking at succession, it's a very good succession line, right? Jethro Barnes, 29. We're looking at Paulson, we said he's 21, 22, and Vieira, of course, is 19 years old. So we have a good succession line there, and there are good goalkeepers playing in good leagues also. So I think that's really something that we need to take advantage of as South Africa, right? That brings it to the end for our goalkeepers. So we're going to go ahead and talk a bit about our defenders. And with our defenders, of course, we're going to start with the first one, which is Nkanyiso Shinga, right? Nkanyiso. I'm sorry. So Nkanyiso plays out in Estrela, right? In the Portuguese Primeira Liga. Very good player as well. Plays out in the left back position, right? I don't know why he's not getting a call up, right? Especially because in Bafana currently, as we speak, we are dwindling in that department specifically. Yes, Ronaldo Obri Mudiba, who's good, don't get me wrong, right? But Obri is very good technically, right? He's originally a midfielder, so he's very good technically, handling the ball and all of that. But whenever he plays against an athlete, right? Somebody who's going to terrorize somebody on the wing with his speed and whatever, is going to be a problem for Mudiba, right? We need somebody who can compete with that. So I think Nkanyiso is one of those. Hey, we already see what happens when, whenever he comes up against athletes, right? So yeah, definitely. I think he's one who should definitely get a shot in that department. And the next player that we're going to talk about is a centre back, and we of course talk about Tiwang Kafupete, right? Plays out for Chaves out in Portugal as well, right? We have quite a few players in Portugal actually that we should be exploiting, but right, plays out in Portugal also, very experienced. Has had a few Bafana caps in the past also, around 30 years old right now if I'm not mistaken, and has been in Portugal for a very, very long time, right? His majority of his career has been in Portugal. Played out in B-side with Pepolo Sitole. They actually played at the same team at some point in time. They played together at the same team, so it was really, really good at Belenenses. And he went out to the UAE if I'm not mistaken, and now he's back in Portugal. So really good player also, and he's one we could rely on for experience. And the next player we're going to be talking about, of course, is our new star boy, of course, and I'm talking about Siyabonga Ngezana, who plays out at FCSB out in Romania. Just won the league as well, and also just got his call up for Bafana Bafana, where he played brilliantly out in the qualifiers also. So yeah, he's probably the guy who's primed to be in that centre-back position, and he's doing fantastic, man. Doing really, really good. His passing game has really, really improved, and I think we can definitely reap the benefits of such an improved player such as Sia, right? Definitely Sia's doing a good job. Okay, so the next player we're going to be talking, of course, about is Philippe Sandler. So Philippe Sandler plays for NEC Nijmegen out in the Netherlands, right? He's one player that, moved around quite a bit. I believe he was in Belgium also at some point, so he's well traveled. He's really, really well traveled. Around 27 years old, 28 years old also, so has quite a bit of experience on him also. And yeah, I think could give a little bit of competition in that position. And the next player, of course, we're going to be talking about in that centre-back position also. So we have quite a few centre-backs in this position. I think in total we have about 5. So we're going to be talking about the next one, of course, and that is, of course, Corey Ndaba. So Corey Ndaba plays for Ipswich, but currently he is out on loan in Scotland for Kilmarnock, and he's been playing really well over there, right? Developing really good, very, very physical guy, tall also, strong. So I think he is one of those that also as a prospect, and if you're talking succession line, he's around 24 years old right now. So succession line, I definitely think that he is one who could add a bit of value in that position as well. Definitely think so about Corey Ndaba. And the next person we're going to be talking about, and who's also going to be playing a little bit more of an understudy, right? And one who are a player that we are very familiar with in South Africa, and that is of course Oluwatu Makanya. Right now he plays for Philadelphia Union out in America, and yeah, he's made a few bench appearances here and there, right? But predominantly plays for their reserve side as well. Very good player, very good player. Tall also, 19 years old. Played for Stellenbosch previously in the PSL. So, you know, I think it's just one of those. You know, I don't know how I feel about a player who leaves first team football for, you know, playing for reserve side, especially in America. Like if you're going to a bigger league, maybe, but you know. But yeah, hopefully he definitely does get a few more first team starts out in America, and he's definitely one who would add onto this list as well. And the final player in our defense that we're going to add over here is our wing back, who also had a stellar season out in Denmark for AG Aarhus, and that is of course Gift Links. And Gift Links also very good player. Obviously started off as a forward and as a winger, but has been deployed as a wing back, where he's been played phenomenally, right? He's just taken that role on, and he's been providing man of the match appearances, and was a very big contributor to the success that they had last season. So I think he is also one who could add a little bit of competition, especially if for a wing back position, right? When we're playing against teams that we feel like we're stronger than, right? I definitely feel like he's one who could add a bit of value in that position also. And yeah, that brings us to the end of our players that we're going to be looking at in the defensive position, right? Okay, so that brings us to the section of our midfielders, of course. And for our midfielders, we're going to be starting off with our Bafana Bafana midfielder who plays currently, and that is of course Yaya Sithole Pepelo. And he plays really well, man. He's the current midfield partner to Tabo Mokoena. Really good player. Plays for Tondela out in Portugal in the second league, but it has been rumors, that he could be moving over to a bigger league and a better team. And which is well deserved. He's a really good player, very good in that holding position also. And yeah, man, you know, he's called Yaya for a reason, right? really good in that position. So very good on that behalf. And the next player that we're going to be looking at also plays out in Russia, and this is a player who played very well in the Olympics last time around, where we had really good performances against teams like France, I believe, also, right? And yeah, right, he's really good, right? Really good. And of course I'm talking about Thabo Qele, right? And right now he plays in Russia for Fakal Vorons. Fakal Vorons. I'm not Russian, guys, so you'll have to forgive me on this one, right? But yeah, he plays really well. Good, you know, box-to-box midfielder, has a lot of energy, great passing range as well, and he can also play as a holding midfielder if you need him to. So he's one of those that I feel like, as I said, we're failing as a nation because he is a really talented guy. So yeah, he's one guy that I believe that we could definitely capitalize on. And the next player we are going to be talking about in this section of the midfielders, of course, and that is Njabulo Blom. Obviously, the stopper plays out for St. Louis City SC out in America, and his coach, of course, is Bradley Carnell, right? The South African also, and he's been doing a brilliant job over out in the MLS. So he's definitely one of those talents that I believe we could definitely capitalize on. And the next player who forms part of this list, of course, and he's the last, I guess, of our defensive midfielders, and that is, of course, Lebupiri, who plays out in Guingamp, out in France, and he just renewed his contract over there also, and he's also been playing the majority of his career overseas. Well-traveled player as well, played for Guingamp for the longest time, and then he moved to Turkey, I believe, where he played for a while over there, then came back, played for Paris out in France, and then now he's back at Guingamp, where he was the captain, and you know, he's just been having a stellar time over there. So he's definitely one of those that had a few Bafana caps and played well, but I don't think we really gave him the longevity that he should have had, considering the quality of player that he is for us as well. And for our next player that we're going to be looking at in this position And now we're looking at the number 10s, our creative midfielders or our playmakers. And our first one for this, of course, is Ethan Chislett, who plays for Port Vale, right, out in England. And I think he's one of those who should have gotten a chance, especially because he publicly pledged his allegiance to us. Definitely said, hey guys, I'm available, please pick me, I'd like to play for the squad. But yeah, fell on deaf ears, unfortunately, which is unfortunate because there have been players like the Informant, for example, who we picked up, and he was phenomenal for us. Even became the captain of our team at some point. And you know, if you didn't have Andile Jale in the middle at that time, and you had the Informant, you more or less got you were reassured because you got more or less the same quality and the same type of player, right? We had a big engine, a big heart as well, and who could deliver for us. So I definitely think, especially whenever we're talking about the playmakers, the number 10s, and the recent questions of, okay, cool, Tembazwan is fantastic for us, but further down the line, who's going to take over in that position? And yeah, it's probably like a Maswan guy and all of those, but there are some guys out in England who could do the job for us, and Ethan Chislett is definitely one of those. And he's a dead ball specialist, guys. One guy can take free kicks. That's always an advantage to have a player like that. So yeah, Ethan Chislett is definitely one. And the next player, of course, who also is a number 10, is Ayanda Seshowa, right? Ayanda is one of those players that is on the tip of the tongue for many South African players, and not players, South African fans, maybe even players too if they know about him, right? But yeah, he's one of those, bro. He's one of those. It looks like we're very close to losing him to Belgium. They have been playing him in the youth teams, of course, and the South African public is aware of him. I mean, even Bruce they've called up the questions for him and said, hey, what do you think about this player? And he gave an unsatisfactory response. He's like, okay, we'll look at him. But I think there is a fear for a lot of us, the fact that he's Belgian. Let's keep that in mind. Hugo Bruce is Belgian, and we don't really know where his line is going to be between preserving, I'll say, prospects for his country, right, of Belgium, because that's who Ayanda Seshowa plays for currently, and also taking his job seriously and doing what's best for us as a nation, which Ayanda Seshowa definitely would be best for us as a nation. Let's not get that twisted, guys. So definitely, yeah. Hopefully, Steenbok, whoever, Safa, somebody who's in charge, please, guys, please just do something and try and fast track this dude. I'm not even saying like put him in Bafana immediately. Put him in the under 23s. All of these dudes, just make a super team out of these young talented kids that we have. We have so many of them. Oh look, Batman, come on guys, right? We can definitely make a special team out of these guys, and it breaks my heart to see these prospects that we just not acting on. So Safa, please guys, get your act together, right? So yeah, that brings it to the end of our midfielders, right? And we're going to be moving over to our forwards for this one. And for our forwards, we're going to be starting over with the number 9, Lyle Foster, right? Who else? So Lyle Foster definitely is the spearhead, retains his position in that forward lineup. And yeah, he definitely is a central figure for us. Very, very good, strong, fast, can dribble, Yes, there have been a few in the past, but let's get over that, guys. We need to face forward, and he's definitely one of our best prospects and one of our best strikers. So I definitely think we need to take care of him. And if we're going to go ahead and pick another forward over for this position, we're looking at Kabomelo Kodisang, right? Another player, kind of like Lele, right? Who played in the youth teams, and now we're failing him. We are failing him because we're not giving him an opportunity to showcase his stuff. Really, really good player. Plays for Morense out in Portugal, right? And yeah, he's also one of those who's played his career out in Portugal for the longest time. Played for teams like Braga also, in the youth teams also, So yeah, he's definitely a good player and one who could definitely offer a lot for us in that position. So the next player that we're going to be mentioning in this position, of course, is Bonguku Hlongwane, right? The Minnesota United forward. And he has grown in leaps and bounds over the few years that he's been in America. And the first season that he played there, I think he ended off with like 3 goals. But the next season afterwards, he went up to like 17, right? And that's because he had a coach that believed in him, right? Adrian Heath. It was very, very good. Right now, there is a change of coach. So he's playing and he's playing well, but there is a bit of an adjustment for him because now he's playing with a different coach who has a different philosophy and different ideas and things like that. So, but definitely one of those players, very, very physical, strong, fast, and has improved quite a lot over the years. And he's only still young, guys. He's only 23, 24, right? So he's definitely one of those that could provide a lot for us in that position. And the next player we're going to be looking at, of course, is his compatriot who plays out in America, of course, and we're talking about Cassius Mailula, right? Plays for Toronto FC out in America or Canada, whatever the case may be. But also another bright prospect for us, just turned 23 years old. And yeah, I think he's one of those that, we should definitely be patient with him. He needs a little bit more game time out of America, obviously, but we definitely know his talents and his abilities. And Cash is definitely one of those that could offer us a lot in the future also. And the next player, of course, that we're talking about in this position is Percy Tau. And he also retains his position in this team, of course. He plays out for Al Ahly, right? Very, very seasoned player for us also. Has come under a lot of criticism lately. I do think that's because also we know how good he is. And because we know how good he is, when he doesn't perform to that standard also, it kind of becomes frustrating, especially when the results aren't necessarily going our way, right? But I definitely do think he's one we should take care of. He's one of those that, yeah, we know Percy, guys. We know Percy and his abilities. Let's not disrespect him. He's definitely one of our best players in that position. And we're going to be looking at another number 9, right? One who could definitely give Lal Foster a little bit of competition for that number 9 position. And we are, of course, talking about Simon van Devenbode, right? And he's one of those prospects also. Fantastic player, 22 years old, turning 23, and yeah, fast, strong, very, very physical also, definitely has a profile that we don't have too many of, especially as South Africans. When you look at our players, our police, giftlings, Pesita, so it's nice to have, a few players that, do provide that physical side for us, especially when you come up against teams that are a little bit more physical on their side. When you come up against like your West African teams also, whether Nigeria, Ivory Coast, Ghana, whatever the case might be, these guys are usually a lot bigger than us. So, Simon definitely could give us a little bit of, just a different profile in that position also. And a little bit of quality, because we know it's deadly finisher. If he gets the ball in the 18-yard area, doesn't matter if it's with the head or the feet, he'll definitely put the ball in the back of the net. And we're going to look at our next player, of course, in this position. And the last player we're going to be looking at is... Okay, so we do have a couple of special mentions in these positions, right? Especially for the forwards. And the first player that we're going to be looking at for the special mention is, of course, Labo Motiba, right? Labo Motiba also, fantastic player. We all know about him. Great profile, strong also, great number 9 that we know, just clinical finisher all around in the 18-yard area. Right now he is unattached, right? He is unattached because his contract recently came to an end at Strasbourg, where he spent the last 5 years. Previously played for Lille, right? And yeah, he's spent majority of his career in France, man. So we're just waiting to see where his next move is. But he's definitely one of those that would definitely make it onto this team because of his quality. And the last player that we're going to be looking at in this position is, I would say, one that it's like a wasted opportunity for Bafana, and that, of course, is Tom Barkhuizen, right? He plays for Derby County in the Championship, and previously he played for Preston North End, right? Also, and that was where his prime of his career was. He was an absolute beast at Preston North End, and I believe that he could have definitely offered us a lot of quality, especially in his position going forward and as an assister as well in that wing position. But right now he's like 31. So yes, there's players like Ozwane, where we spoke about the fact that even though they are a little bit older, they could definitely offer a lot of quality. But when you're thinking long term, like 31, it makes it a little bit tricky, right? But he's definitely one of those who's a fantastic player. And as I'm saying, I definitely feel like he's a wasted opportunity when we look at these players who could have definitely made a difference for us, but we never really capitalized on. So yeah, that is the whole 23-man squad that we would have picked. But I did promise you a best 11. I did promise you a best 11 in the thumbnail, in the title, right? So that's what I'm going to give you. And we're just going to take all of the players that we mentioned in this team, and we're going to formulate our own team based around those players. And starting with the goalkeeper, we're going to go with Jethron Barr, right? So Jethron Barr is going to battle it out with Paulson for this position, depending on who's on form. But Jethron Barr, because he's older, of course, has a little bit more experience and has played for the national team before, he definitely does take a little bit of preference in this position. But as I said, it is the spot still is open. The spot still is open. Paulson is definitely going to go ahead and fight for that, and Vieira is going to be the understudy, of course, and is going to learn the ropes in the background. And in the left center back position, we're going to go ahead and go with Tibang Pete. Right, Tibang Pete has a lot of experience also, has played for Bafana before and has played in Portugal for the longest time also. So he's going to be a left centre back. And in the right centre back position, we're going to go with Siang Gezana, who has had a magnificent season up in Romania, of course. So our next player who's going to be playing in our right back position, of course, is going to be Gift Links, who's had a stellar season at AGFR has, right? And he's a fantastic player, so he's definitely going to occupy that right back position. And his counterpart, who's going to play on the left back position, is Nkanyiso Shenga, of course, who plays for Estrella and is a fantastic player, so he deserves it, of course. And we're going to move on to our midfielders, and for our left holding midfielder position, we're going to play Thabo Tsaile. So Thabo Tsaile is going to play in the left holding midfield position. He is a box-to-box midfielder, so can give us a lot of energy going forward, and of course in defense as well, and has a great range of passing also. And his partner, who plays on the right holding midfield position, of course, is Pepelo Sithole, who of course is Thabo Mokoena's partner and the official Bafana midfielder right now. So he definitely deserves a spot on this list. And we're going to look at our next player, who plays as our number 10, our central attacking midfielder, of course, and that will be, of course, Ethan Chislett, right? He does have a lot of experience, is slightly older, of course, so we will be relying on him to, just string along those passes and get the game going, right? But that is an open position also, of course. If Ayanda Sishuba, who is his understudy in this position, just ripens up and proves himself to be a little bit more for that position, he's definitely one that we would open it up for. And the next player that we're going to be looking at, of course, who is going to be playing on the right wing is, of course, Pesitao. Who else? The Lion of Judah, guys. Say what you will, but he is a fantastic player, has the deadly left foot, so we'll be looking for him to cut in on the inside, of course, and putting the ball into the back of the net. And the right player who's going to be playing on the right wing, of course, is Kabumelo Kodisang. We should start failing Gorisang, guys. We should start failing Gorisang, but he will definitely play on the right wing and give us a little bit of pace in that position. Will give us his creativity, and he has a low sense of gravity, right? Also has an eye for goal, and just loves to be in the right position at the right time. And that's how he got majority of his goals last season. So we'll be looking for him to give us a bit of quality there. And for our number 9 to spearhead this whole thing, of course, is Lal Foster. Who else? So Lal Foster is going to spearhead this whole thing, and Simon van Devenburen, of course, will be hot on his heels and be trying to take that spot from him as well. So it's going to be a lovely little battle over for that number 9 position, especially because they're both physical players, and we're going to need that type of player when we go up against our West African counterparts, your Ivory Coast, your Ghanas, your Nigerians, all of these guys who are physically bigger than us. We're going to need these guys, just to give us that little bit of power up front. And that is our best 11 for if we had to choose a purely overseas side squad. Let me know what you think of my squad, and if there are any players that you feel like we missed out on and we should definitely add into the mix also. I'd love to hear your views on that. And please don't forget also to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I do appreciate all of you guys who are subscribing, of course. Thank you very much. We are on the road now to 1,000, so definitely please keep a lookout for that. Until next time, I'll see you in the next episode of The Corner Flag.